This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley Smith.
Well, good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Today is Wednesday, September 6th, 2023. Hard to believe we're already in the month of September. So glad you could join us for today's show. In today's episode, I talk with Adam Theis of Pioneer about tar spot and how in this late season and then even preparing for the next season, you can manage that before it becomes a problem. We also have a check of that ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
At the end of another trading day in the ag marketplace, we're talking with Jacob Burks of agmarket.net. First off, Jacob, how are the grains looking right now?
Well, Riley, we started off in a very positive mode after seeing some crop conditions ratings come out yesterday afternoon that were rather disappointing to the crop. It sparked a lot of buying interest, a lot of fear of what that production number is going to look like at the end of this marketing season. But we ended up kind of petering out here in the corn market. We saw the beans stay strong. We ended up closing the beans a dime higher. Wheat market was the pretty spark here, and so that's been a long time since we've said that. But we've actually saw double-digit gains across across all the Chicago wheat, and Kansas City was up 20 cents.
Now, Dustin's been out of the office today, so we're joking that, somewhat joking, that he's out there negotiating that Black Sea grain deal right now. If we see progress on that, at this point, will we see too much movement from it, or is that news kind of factored into the markets already?
I think you're going to have to see some, Dustin's going to have to lay the hammer down and get some ink on the paper. I think that's might be what it takes. The headlines aren't moving anything out. There was several different stories of, some bombings, maybe even civilians were killed. Romania was almost hit. Some things out there that you would think spark some type of interest, or maybe it's just the confirmation that there's not going to be a deal done. But I think that if that continues to be the case, the wheat market, from a technical perspective, has what we would look at kind of a U-shaped bottom forming, but really it just hasn't done anything to stick its head up above some of those resistance levels to go ahead and solidify that. Hey, we're ready to break out. There's people are ready to buy this wheat market, and it has a chance to pop back up. But from a fundamental standpoint, you look at what global stocks are right now. We're one of the tighter supplies that we've seen in about a decade. So there is room there that there could be some, just with a tight balance sheet, that if we can get some interest here, and if we can, confirmation that hey, it's going to be more difficult to move wheat out of that Black Sea region. Then we could start to see some type of boost here. But again, weather's still the key too. You got several major growing areas of wheat that are rather dry right now, and so that could be another thing that we could see that could help boost that wheat market.
And then, of course, with that weather, a lot of areas are seemingly getting to kind of early harvest, or it feels early at least. So once we kind of start getting that crop out of the ground, do we get some extra resiliency to any weather news that might pop up since the crop's coming out?
The weather, the biggest idea, the thought process is how did this crop finish? We've heard that a lot, and we've never really had, or rarely have we ever had, this type of heat, this type of dryness this late in the season. So timely rains, we produced what looks like could be a relatively large crop. One of the second largest yield, I guess largest yield if you look at what the USDA has on the books from last month. But with what we're anticipating them bringing the yield numbers down, how did it finish? And that's the biggest question. And if you start, everybody out there is, every customer I've asked about what's it yielding, what do you look like, what do you see, and what's out there, and just from the word of mouth, I haven't really heard that big of disappointments. Now I think where you're going to get in some of those disappointing areas are going to be probably more in your Minnesotas and some of these areas that. Because there is, not much crop, things have dried down quicker, and they're going to be harvesting rather quickly. We got this crop planted pretty early, so things are moved up a little bit. The combine's not going to lie, and it's always the case, but right now, that's the market's job, is trying to anticipate, hey, what kind of production do we have out there? Now, we've talked a lot about production. We talked a lot about, what's out there in the fields. But this market also realizes that there is a lot of fluff in some of that demand picture, and so that's going to be the hardest part about the corn market, is finding that balance of where does the demand pick back up at.
And then on the livestock side of things, what do we see in that marketplace today?
We saw a late rally in the feeder cattle, and cattle too. I mean, cattle ended up closing there $2.35 higher in December, so $2.75 higher in October. So a real strong day, big breakout. This is kind of taking away most of last month's loss there. And same thing in the feeder cattle. We actually made some new highs here for the move, I believe, in some of these back months. I'd have to to look at that, but we definitely stuck our neck back up there to the top side of the trade that the feeder cattle have been on. So it was a late move there. It was, buyers kind of just showed up here. A lot of that happened as the corn market started to break as well. So hog market still, reluctant to find any type of direction. We did come back off the lows from the earlier in August, but it's really, if you look back at the last 3 months, we've chopped around and really went nowhere.
And if we, getting through Labor Day weekend, have we already seen maybe a downtick in that demand for meats?
Yeah. I mean, when you get to the end of the grilling season, your mind starts to focus on, okay, what can we export? What are we going to prepare for the holiday season on the demand side? But your cash market, is still staying in the 180s in the live cattle in the north. Even some of the south bids were in that 180 to 183 level. So you're starting to see a very light cash move, but they're still out there. And the box beef has stayed strong too. So when you look at the margins from the packers, it's still in a decent territory. I mean, they're still in the red, but it's something that is, it's not falling apart. They still have to keep that bid posted there on the live cattle, just to follow through with some of the contracts that they already have. So realistically, I think that when you look at the hog market, it's going to come down to exports and what can we continue to push out the door on the global side.
Lots of great information today, Jacob. For those of our listeners and our viewers who would like to get in touch and learn more from the folks at agmarket.net, how can they do that?
Oh, we'd encourage you to just go to our website and look at the 30-day free trial of our agmarket.net intel. It gets all of our commentary sent right to your inbox. You can look it up on the app too as well. You can find all of our information on the About Us part of our website. Love to talk to you.
Great talking with you as always, Jacob, and we look forward to hearing from you again soon.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. You have a good one.
That again was Jacob Burks of agmarket.net. We'll go ahead and take a look at how those numbers close. That's courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. December corn is down 1/4 at $4.85 3/4. November soybeans up 11 1/4 at $13.75 1/4. December soybean meal up 1.60 at $3.99.20. December soybean oil down 43 cents at 62.38. Chicago wheat up 9 3/4 at 6.09 even. Minneapolis spring wheat up 20 1/4 at 7.82 1/2. Kansas City hard red wheat up 25 even at 7.49 1/2. December oats up 11 1/4 at 4.98 3/4. On the Merc, October live cattle up 2.75 at 182.70. September feeders up 1.77 at 253.15. October lean hogs down 1.30 at 81.87. October pork cutout down 1.20 at 92.90. Class 3 milk up 8 cents at 18.96. And that's been a check of the markets here on Ag Matters PM. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I talk with Adam Theis of Pioneer. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Even though we're in the late season of the crop cycle, there's still time to manage some disease pressure, some fungus pressure specifically with tar spot in corn, and even get prepared for next year. I talked with Adam Theis of Pioneer at the Farm Progress Show in Decatur, Illinois, about what you can do right now to scout for that in your fields, and some things you can do like seed selection and crop scouting that will have you prepared for next year. We're here at Farm Progress Show 2023 talking with Adam Theis about tar spot this year. Now, you gave a great presentation earlier on just some tar spot issues we've been seeing. First off, just tell us on what the current status of tar spot is in these growing areas.
Yeah, current status of tar spot levels in general across the U.S. are probably actually a little bit lower than last year. But what we're seeing is areas across the U.S., in particular states like Iowa and surrounding states like Missouri, are actually seeing elevated levels that are probably higher than last year, but it also showed up sooner than prior year. And that's really just a function of the environment that we're seeing with some cooler temps, some more humidity, especially weeks like this week.
Right, and you mentioned that, not as much this year. We've had a lot of a drier year, but then we had this morning and over this weekend, we've had that moisture. There was fog this morning and all that. You mentioned that tar spot can move pretty quick when we have these moist conditions. So what are we expecting we could see from that? And just tell us a little bit on how quickly exactly it'll move.
Yeah, given tar spot can show up so quickly because it can be both in the inoculum overwintering, but also wind blown in from neighboring fields. And it's also a very aggressive disease. So in a matter of 3 to 5 days, that cornfield can look very differently as that infestation sets in. So we're still probably a few weeks away yet from black layer for a lot of the cornfields out there across the U.S. and especially in that Midwest region. So we would want to make sure we're still continuing to monitor, scout for tar spot levels, because while the odds of needing to spray for fungicide as a rescue spray this late in the season is low, there are still some threats out there to yield, and we just want to make sure we don't lose any of that opportunity here this late in the season.
Right, and when we're thinking about tar spot and everything and how to handle that, once you see those lesions on the corn, you're kind of already too late because that's when it's starting to attack and make that damage. So what's kind of the strategy that you really recommend for farmers to take to prevent that and get ahead of the disease or the tar spot itself?
Well, and that's another reason why scouting right now, whether you're concerned about it or not, is really important, because even if you're out there seeing tar spot lesions this time of the year and maybe you're already at black layer, so your yield risk is a lot lower, then it's even a bigger and more important criteria to be selecting for the 2024 growing season. So when you look at management options that farmers have available to mitigate the risk of tar spot, there's really two that come to my mind. First is, and it starts really this fall, seed selection. We're really excited to have research vetted and verified tar spot scores by Pioneer Hybrid that overall will let that farmer know the level of protection they can expect to receive from a Pioneer Hybrid given its rating on that product. And we're also seeing in general, our corn breeders have done a fantastic job of really emphasizing and focusing on late season plant health and stay green. And that's really shown up now with the level of protection we're seeing versus many of the competitive offerings in the marketplace. So that really starts this fall for the 2024 season. Now let's fast forward into next year, 2024, the growing season itself. Scouting and spraying really starting as soon as July, given that disease has shown up that early this year in the 23 crop in certain parts of the U.S. is important, and just being prepared to spray when necessary, when that disease tell you, not just at the leaf stage or typical stage for a fungicide application like historically has been done.
Right, between any farm, and farmers know this, like you have to adapt and be able to adapt your treatment plan and have that for your specific farm. Even field to field, you can have those different conditions. Now, what does Pioneer have just kind of out there, on the product line for farmers to use to combat tar spot?
Yeah, so we have certainly fungicides on the Approach Prima side that have proven to be very effective against tar spot. Certainly the hybrids themselves, understand the ratings are showing varying levels of protection on tar spot. And then also understanding, just from a fungicide timing standpoint, taking into account those scores and the disease pressure in the field, we can recommend by field when to spray that field and really make sure that's an agronomy sound decision that really allows that fungicide and the residual of that fungicide to have the biggest window possible to help get that crop to the finish line with max test weight and yield.
All right, Adam, lots of great information today. First off, is there anything else that our listeners and viewers should know when it comes to tar spot and just the offerings that Pioneer has for them?
Yeah, just a reminder that Pioneer genetics are exclusive to the Pioneer brand. So those tar spot tolerant genetics, they can have confidence to go find those in the tar spot ratings. Talk to your local Pioneer sales rep.
All right, thanks for taking the time to visit with us today, Adam, and good luck with the rest of the Farm Progress Show.
All right, thank you.
That again was Adam Theis of Pioneer. Let's go ahead and take a look at that ag weather outlook. It feels a lot cooler today, and well, that's because it is, especially when you compare it to the near 100-degree temperatures that we've had recently. Today was overcast, really nice skies, but part of that is from some continued wildfire smoke that is coming through from Canada. Some of that will be lingering, especially over the western and northern parts of the state, but should clear off by tomorrow to give way to some sunny skies. So let's see what the National Weather Service has in store for the next 24 hours. As you can see from the National Weather Service, other than the smoke, it's pretty nice in the state of Iowa right now. Today we have variably smoky or hazy skies across much of the state, otherwise mostly cloudy, those highs ranging from the low 70s to upper 70s. Tonight, that smoke or haze will persist in the areas that it is present, overnight lows ranging from the mid-40s to upper 50s. Tomorrow, that smoke will clear off and give way to sunny skies, highs ranging from the mid-70s to low 80s. And taking a look at the affiliate weather map for tomorrow, Cherokee will see sunny skies with a high of 79. Shenandoah, areas of smoke that will clear off and give way to sunny skies and a high of 81. Des Moines, sunny and 79. Waterloo, mostly sunny and 76. Albia, sunny and 79. And Clinton will see mostly sunny skies with a high around 75. For more detailed forecasts in your part of the state, make sure to check in with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. That's been a check of the Ag Weather Outlook, and that also brings us to the end of this episode of Ag Matters PM. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on social media at Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn. You can find our video content as well as previous episodes of AMPM on our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to see when those videos go live. Don't forget as well our free Twice Daily Market podcasts on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Mark Magnuson and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.